I mean, you had to know it was coming. What's up, nerds? It's your boy on a suddenly gloomy spring morning, 9 o'clock in the morning here at Site B on this, the day before Lupercalia, Valentine's Day, whatever you want to call it. You guys said you wanted to see me do more reviews or more deep dives. I can only review games I own first before I reach out and purchase new games. So we're going to go through the PDFs first, and not surprisingly, the top of my PDF stack are superhero role-playing games. Because I love superhero role-playing games. I don't know why. I just do. I love them more than fantasy games. If I had a choice, I'd choose superheroes first. There's no question. And of course, the top of my superhero role-playing game Mount Rushmore is classic Faserip Percentile Marvel. It is very hard for me to find anything wrong with this game. I have such a built-in pre-built love that to look at it without going, I guess that sucks. It's just very hard for me. There are things about this game that are just did not age well, and even back then don't work. It just doesn't work. Is this the best superhero role-playing game ever made? No. Is this the best version of the Marvel Universe as a superhero role-playing game? Absolutely. Is this a good system with some really original, unique ideas that I've never seen anywhere else? Absolutely. Does it get weird? Do the mechanics work? Not. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. The randomness is definitely the biggest sale and the biggest disadvantage point about this. Because it is so random that you can have a crappy character with crappy stats that just doesn't make sense. I mean, you can rank anywhere from feeble, which is basically you are as competent as a cardboard box, all the way up to godly. And the way the system works, it kind of doesn't reward you being godly, and it kind of doesn't punishing you for being feeble. It's definitely that middle white block on the sheet is definitely its strong point. So the randomness is its strong point, and the randomness is its weak point. Now, if you ask me, is this the best superhero role-playing game ever made? No. Is it my favorite role-playing game? Yes. Is it my desert island role-playing game? Like if I only had one role-playing game to ever use again, would this be it? No, it's not, because there's systems that do it better. But I love this game, and I love this game for purely selfish reasons. And I've gone through the story of why I love this game so much, so many times. But if you haven't heard it, I have to review it because it is an intrinsic part of the game. And the two big things about this game that make it stand out to me, that has always made it stand out for me, is the use of words and the use of colors. So what am I talking about with the use of words and the use of colors? So let's see if I can find the, here we go, this thing. Hold on a sec. One moment, please, because I'm really bad at this. This thing. The universal chart for Marvel. And you will see the colors, green, yellow, red, white, and you'll see the words up here, BAEA, all these things up here. And then the percentile. So you have to remember that I am unbelievably dyslexic. I don't think you guys realize how dyslexic I am, especially when it comes to numbers. 90% of my life has been built around education-wise with reprogramming the way my brain thinks so I can handle day-to-day math. I'm 57 years old. I still have to count on my fingers. I still can't read a clock. I have no sense of direction. I don't know the difference between right and left, which unless I think about it, which is probably why I don't drive. Mathematical dyslexia affects so many different aspects of my life. And the spelling dyslexia is another one. But I mean, even, and as I get older, it's getting worse because my brain's turning too much. So imagine you're me, and here's a game that first uses 0 through 100, which is so easy. And second, instead of using numbers, uses words. So instead of having an 18 strength or a 32 strength or an energy blast that does 16d6, they used words that emphasize the feel of Marvel Comics at the time. So we had words like exceptional, amazing, unearthly, Hulk-like, inhuman, because the Amazing Spider-Man. So if you had an amazing, you knew you were up there with Spider-Man. All right. So I didn't have to worry about numbers, adding in the +3 or the +7, which at the time was very, just sung to me. It was one of the few role-playing games where I wasn't struggling because my brain understood words. My brain understood that amazing was better than exceptional, but not as good as whatever. So the DMs were always thinking in terms of words, not numbers. So you have to beat an exceptional. You have to roll an amazing. This is an unearthly task. And plus, it just sounds better. It just sounds comic book. And if there is another game that uses this, I am not aware of it. But if you are, please let me know. So the words just sound more comic book. And there's no other superhero game that I know of that does this, that replaces the numbers with the words. I lift the truck with my 22 strength. Okay, yeah, roll, add your +5, whatever. That's okay. It's classic. We all get it, but it's not heroic. Now you got to remember the letter words of the superhero. Spider-Man punches somebody, and you see the word "BAMF" written across the page in big purple letters. Or you hear Cap say, "It's only if not for my exceptional strength." So I lift the car with my exceptional strength. Dun, 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 dun. Everybody looks on. That just sounds so much more comic booky than I lift the car with my 22 strength. So it just filled your brain with comic book images, which helped move the game along because you were always seeing the world through those 1980s comic book lenses. Exceptional strength, unearthly power blast. I resist him with my good endurance. But of course, then we also had feeble, and I'll get to my story about feeble. So that was the first thing, the words. My brain understood words, and the words. Now the numbers were there. You can see the numbers on the percentile. Can I get a close-up of this? No, you can't. Okay, thanks. I will copy and paste it and see if I can get a close-up that way. But you can see that there's numbers on here, right? At least I think you can. I don't know. Maybe you can't. Let's see if we can get a close-up. No, we can't. All right. Well, it's the 1980s. What do you want? So you can see that if I'm rolling percentile, I'm going to roll a 33 or a 75, and then I'm going to just consult the table, right? So if I rolled a 50 and I look across the table and I see white, 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 green, 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 red, red, red. So these are the difficulties, the colors. And these are the rankings. So in order to succeed, the DM could say that, he's put up a remarkable wall of force. So I find remarkable on here. And then I punch it with my exceptional strength. And I look, and exceptional. And that's like a 55. And I look and I see, okay, 55 is enough to punch through the remarkable wall because it was a green feat. So bam. So the DM doesn't have to tell me numbers. He just has to tell me the color I have to meet. And all I have to do is cross-reference my number with the table. So I know I've got a remarkable strength. Here's the table here. So I can just look and go, okay, yeah, it was a green feat. I did it. I punched through the wall. For a dyslexic kid, for me at that period of time, it just opened doors. As much as I enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, as much as I love Villains and Vigilantes, this worked in a way no other superhero game works for me because so many other superhero games are based around numbers. And those numbers don't translate in my brain, but the words, the imagery, the tactile, that just, that works for me, which is why I love it. Anthony's informing me the Fate system uses words. I don't remember words from Fate when the 2 times I played it, but okay, maybe it does. I know there probably are other games that use it, right? Yeah. Okay, the second thing was, of course, the colors. Everything was described with colors. This is a green feat. This is a red feat. This is a yellow feat. And again, that just makes it feel more comic booky. So bar none, this is my favorite superhero role-playing game. It is not the best superhero role-playing game. It is not my desert island role-playing game, but I love this game. And again, I love this for these very personal, emotional reasons that are important to me at the time in my life when I was playing this game. So again, it makes it very difficult for me to find anything wrong with this game. There is something extremely wrong with this game: the randomness. Now, I'm a huge fan of randomness, especially in superheroes. Superhero games should have random power generation tables, even if it's not a system that uses randomness like Mutants and Masterminds or Champions. There should be the option for quick reference to just quickly roll up a quick random NPC and have them ready to go in like 5 minutes. Every superhero role-playing game should have random powers because superheroes are random. If you take away all the names and just look at the breakdown of the powers, they make no frickin' sense. All right, you are kind of strong, kind of fast. You can climb walls, and you have this sort of danger sense, undefined thing that's kind of radar, kind of precognition, kind of just fourth wall breaking. You shoot webs, and you have a flashlight. Well, that's pretty random, but I could do something with clinging and webs. Yeah, Spider-Man. Oh, you're stretching and you're really smart. Huh. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but okay. So it had random tables, and the random tables work. And if you were a mutant, you got certain bonuses and certain minuses. If you were a cyborg, whatever, you rolled your randomly tables. And, sometimes they made perfect sense. Oh, flame powers and blank, that works. Sometimes they didn't make much sense. But as most random heroes, you can kind of make them all work together. But the trouble with Marvel is it was maybe a little too random, and the numbers. Because not only did you randomly roll your powers, you would randomly roll how strong your powers are. And if you remember, if we go back to here, we've got everything from unearthly all the way down here to 0 and feeble and poor. And you had just as much chance as getting a power that was remarkable or exceptional or good, or amazing. If Spider-Man is amazing, you've got almost as good as Spider-Man, kind of as good as Spider-Man. I mean, you're whatever. You're an agent. We've got normal dudes. We've got Spider-Man, and we've got dudes that are exceptionally above Spider-Man. But then we've got these three: 0, feeble, and poor. And you could have a character that had a feeble or even a 0 ranked power or a poor power, and then you're just the D class, X class of heroes and villains whose power is just like, I rolled my character, I've got a feeble strength. I rolled my character, I've got a poor blank. Okay, well, I don't know what to do with that. How do I explain that? So here's my 2 examples of how the randomness is the biggest bonus and the biggest default. The biggest disadvantage, the worst thing about this game is the randomness and the fact that you have to randomly roll how powerful you are. So in the Marvel game I was in, I had a friend, and he made a character, and that character rolled ice powers, feeble. What can you do with feeble ice powers? I can make ice cream. I can cool people's drinks. I can become a pretty decent bartender. I can slightly lower the temperature. I'm about as cold as a refrigerator. Yeah. How does that help me fight villains or save the world? It doesn't, but I know my drinks will be at perfect temperature. I mean, there's obviously examples of characters who have feeble powers. Look at Beak from the X-Men, right? Or the kid from the X-Men, or Forget-Me-Not from the, actually his power isn't feeble, but whatever. There are characters throughout comic books who would be considered, well, that's pretty useless. Kite Man. But whatever. The other one, of course, was my character, the first character I ever made playing Marvel, which was a 1950s style robot in, the 80s. So I was a classic 1950s tin can circular robot with the metal legs and the metal crappy arms and the metal head, the square head with, like, the readout on it and the tape reel. I rolled it for my intellect. I rolled feeble. And for so basically my character was a robot because he had to be told what to do. He was a voice acted robot. He had no free will. You had to tell him what to do. And if you didn't tell him what to do, he would stand there because he has a feeble reason, intellect, whatever it was. So 1950s robot, you have to tell me what to do. Otherwise, I just stand there in the corner waiting to receive my instructions. My characters had like 2 powers. One of the powers was blending. And that was the best thing I rolled. Like the highest thing a starting character could roll, I rolled for my blending. I think it was like remarkable. So I stood still and blended with wherever I was. And if nobody told me what to do because I had the feeble intellect, I would stand there, which meant almost every game they forgot about me. Something would happen, all the characters would run off, and my character would still be standing in the corner blending into the wall, but because nobody saw me because I was blending into the wall, they would just forget about me. And at the time, the DM wanted to reinforce this because we both thought it was so hilarious. So I never said anything. And every time I kept quiet, he would reward me with the karma points. We're getting to that. So I would just, as a player, never say anything. I would wait for them to tell me to do something. And I would just remind the DM that I'm still standing in the corner and I'm still blending. So nobody can see me. And if nobody tells me what to do, and then they would leave, and then something would happen, and they would need my character, and they'd go, wait, where's the robot? Oh, fuck, we left him back at home. And I had all the team's information. I had all the team's contents. I was the team's answering machine. So instead of like connections, we rolled connections, people I knew, but they weren't connections. They were saved phone numbers. So police, pizza guy. So it was hilarious, but after a while, it became pretty, there's nothing I can do with this character. So that is the main disadvantage. Now, the other great thing was the karma rules, which, again, I've really never seen in another system. There are systems that come close, but again, this was very superheroic. This game rewarded you for doing heroic things with something called karma, and you could build up karma to modify dice rolls, to get new powers, to cause superheroic type things to happen. I spend 10 karma to make sure I catch that. I spend 10 karma to make sure I can hold it was just, and you would get more karma for role playing your character and doing heroic things, even if, it meant jeopardizing yourself. I dive into the fire. Or in my case, by not saying anything, the DM rewarded me because I was playing my character to the point of loss, which was hilarious for about 3 games. And then everybody told me I had to make a new character because, they just didn't want to keep remembering that the robot was there. So my second character was almost as serious. His name was the Rabid Wombat, and he rolled Hyper Digging as his power and Berserk as one of his other powers. So I would berserk like Wolverine and then just start digging. So characters can be unbelievably silly, which is the big disadvantage and of the randomness. The randomness can get you amazing characters, it can get you fun characters, it can get you ridiculously silly characters, or it can get you utterly useless character as the guy whose one power was feeble ice powers. What do? I make sure my drink is still at perfect room temperature. So that's my review of Marvel. That's the last superhero PDF I have. If there's any other superhero role-playing games you want me to review, let me know. Otherwise, we'll be moving on to the next chunk of PDFs I have next week. Yeah, I mean, I know it's in closing, it is very hard for me to find anything wrong with this game because I just have such a Pavlovian response to loving it because at how important it was for me at the time that I was playing it, because it allowed me to see the game. And as much as I enjoyed playing Dungeons and Dragons back then and Villains and Vigilantes back then, there was always the math, which other people are probably going to laugh at. But for me, that was a huge hurdle. It still is a huge hurdle. And this game said, no, that's okay because we use colors and words. So thank you for being awesome, Faserip Marvel. And we'll be back next week with another system. Take care. See ya.